Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Luke Ruff from the Upstate Dragons, the one guy you never see on camera. And with me, I have head coach and co-owner Kent Meredith and wide receiver Wyatt Rogers. And today, we are going to engage in the first ever Upstate Dragons Coaches Show. This is going to be the first installment in what will hopefully be a long-running and very frequent series where we just sit down and discuss the ins and outs of the game, the team. Everything you could ever want to know is going to be answered right here. So sit back, maybe grab some popcorn, some water, or whatever you may drink, whatever floats your boat, and just stay tuned because we've got a lot coming at you here today. So I guess, Kent, we'll start with you with the very beginning of the Upstate Dragons. Now, I do remember on the first website we had, I saw at the very bottom that said copyright 2013, Kent Meredith. So the Dragons, do they really go back all the way, almost 5 years now?
Yes, the idea and everything was like that because I had it where I wanted to bring in an arena team and I wanted to name it the Dragons. So my thinking was in November of 2016 was 2016. Right. My son was like, "Dad, I think it's time to get the team back started." So I said, "Okay." The biggest thing I needed was a partner that I can trust completely. And I found that partner in Marianne. You know, she's the co-owner of the team. And plus, you can ask for anybody that is more passionate and have the same kind of drive that our organization has.
And the high standards as well.
Yes, very high standards. So when I contacted her, she agreed to meet with me, and after she met with me, she got the idea of everything, and she's like, "Okay, let's do this thing." So we decided to do a travel team first because a lot of new startup teams that just jump into an arena, they don't have a substance or a base to go to sponsorships or people to advertise with their company.
Las Vegas Outlaws 2015.
Right, exactly. That, say they go in there, they don't have a fan base, and they end up losing a lot of money the first year. So we decided, we want to have some kind of substance. And, so we're going to do a travel team. And then, our biggest thing with the travel team in 2017 was we want to make sure that we can figure some way to get it out to people, and the only way we can think was YouTube. And this young kid contacted me, asked could he actually do some stuff for the team and a beat reporter and stuff like that. And when I met him, I was blown away by the knowledge of his arena football knowledge, which is you. And I gave you the idea of what I wanted to do with the YouTube channel and what we're trying to do as an organization. And you and your dad, Daniel, blew it out the water. When y'all started with the YouTube, it jumped. Our organization became more popular when y'all came aboard. And that's the great thing that we have with our organization. We adding people that are making our organization stronger, that are good people, are dedicated people, and have the same heart and drive to make this organization a great organization.
Absolutely, and you referenced that heart and drive, a true embodiment of what the Dragons exist to be. But Marianne, how exactly did you guys meet?
Well, we knew each other from when I played and coached, through that and Facebook. And I knew, and she's a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, which I am too. So, and she lives and dies football. I mean, she's a football fanatic. And she is very, very knowledgeable in football. I mean, it's not just the business aspect that she's really knowledgeable at. It's also football smarts. So that's what I was like, okay, this is going to be a perfect fit. And it just grown and grown and grown to be where, we have one of our, we think, going to be one of the top organizations in our league.
Absolutely. And speaking of Marianne, Wyatt, we haven't talked to you yet, but I've got a fill-in-the-blank question for you to start things off. Kent is the coach of the team. Marianne is the
She's the coach too.
I was hoping for she's the boss, but regardless,
Hey,
that was what we joked about all year.
They're both the coaches.
Yeah.
That's how we as players take it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There is so much of this organization that she runs. I believe there was actually an interview I conducted with Marcus Littlejohn a long time ago. I think it was back close to the end of the summer in August, where he discussed where he had called you with some sort of question, and he asked whether or not you were the one to go to, and you said, no, don't come to me with questions that don't pertain to anything off the field. You go to Marianne with that because she's the boss. She is the heart and soul of this team just as much as you and the players are. It's amazing the things she does. And one of her biggest platforms is community service, getting out there, establishing good public relations, and really just getting this team's face out in the community.
Well, see, that's when I first decided to start the team, you can't have just one person or two people or a team in one direction. You're going to have where one person really strong in one area, one person really strong in the other area. And that's one thing that Marianne is really strong in is the community service. And we are really big with the community service. We're constantly in the community. We went and sang at a retirement home last weekend, Christmas carols, which, was turned out, we're still getting response of that today.
Yeah, I saw where you guys posted the email on Facebook today. You can go check that out.
Yes.
What is the URL, I believe? It's just, facebook.com/Upstate Dragons football, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And, like today when I was out, speaking with sponsors and, people that want to advertise with us, they're like, they can't believe what great that we're in the community, that the Chambers of Commerce and the mayor are praising our efforts about what we're doing, not only with the community, but what we're bringing to the city of Anderson. And you got to understand, in the state of South Carolina, there has never been an arena championship ever won here. And this is never been an arena team in Anderson, South Carolina. So our goal in 2018 is not only to compete for a championship, but be in a championship game where we're winning it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with players like Wyatt, that is not at all going to be hard to do. And what are some of the things? I know Wyatt has improved so much during this offseason. I'm seeing CFL level talent out of him. It's astounding, and that's all around the team. So as a coach, who are some of the players that fans need to look out for and keep an eye on this season?
Well, we're going to have a great quarterback battle. Our biggest thing last year, our weakest spot last year was our quarterback play. And, everything else was great. So, we looked at, evaluated ourselves as an organization, coaches and everything like that. That's the reason we have a brand new coaching staff, aboard. Our goal is not only to be competitive and win a championship, we want to try to be one of the upper level organization where everybody's looking, okay, they're doing it this way, this is how we're going to do it. Just for instance, one of the top teams in our league, the Richmond Rough Riders, they have a great organization, they have a great team. They went undefeated last year and won the APF, and actually, me and my son was at that game, and it was one of the most exciting championship games that I've seen in a very, very long time, because it went back and forth and they won it.
What do you really think the secret to Richmonds' success has been on the field? Is it good players or good coaching or a combination of both?
Well, actually, really, I think it's not only a combination of both, but you got to have all three, because you can have a great coach, you can have great players. If you don't have the organization, you're not going to win a championship. So I think their organization empower their coaches, and then their coaches empower their players, and they're treated like professionals and they play like professionals. And that's our goal, and that's one thing we keep preaching with us and with our organization is we are going to treat these players like professional athletes that they are, and that when they leave and retire or stop playing with us, they're going to say that this is the best thing that's ever happened to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And as of right now, you've played one of the only players who actually played in all of the Dragons games last year. How would you really personify your experience with the team thus far and how it's driven you on the field and off the field?
Well, it was exciting. I mean, being a travel organization last year really got us in the door to open up the sponsorship areas, and then getting out in the communities was really the big part of just starting the organization up. And, on the field, it's football. It's one-on-one battles against the defensive backs, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. And you referenced the one-on-one battle with the defensive backs and all. How much of a relief is that to be able to go in there indoors and only have to beat one guy, whereas outdoors you're going up against really 7 or 8 different people, all with these different assignments and zones and whatnot, where indoors you've got one guy to deal with, and that's it, and if you can get past him, you're going for
Well, that's the
end zone.
thing. If you can win the one-on-one battles, you're going to have success in this league. The quarterback has to look at – mainly the quarterback has a number one target. And he's going to throw the ball around. But that number one target has to win those one-on-one battles. You win the one-on-one battles, you score touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. And that number one target you referenced is usually the high motion man, and that's not something we've covered in this show, but it is one of the absolute staples of arena football is the concept that one of these receivers can be running towards the line of scrimmage with a full head of steam as the play starts. And as a coach, you've coached both defense and offense. You've played with some high motion receivers. What is that like as a quarterback, being able to sit back there and know you've got a guy going with a full head of steam up against a stationary defensive back?
Well, as a quarterback, you drool as a quarterback. I mean, as a quarterback, you love arena football because, quarterbacks love to throw a football. And that's what arena football is, throwing the football. And for a quarterback with the high motion, you can set up all your other pass routes with that high motion and get the defense on their heels.
Yeah, really allow that motion man to go over the top of the field and clear things up underneath.
Yes, it can push the field, and it's only a 50-yard wide field. So it's very, very, very fast-paced. I mean, the quarterback has to get the ball out of his hands very, very fast, 1.5 seconds and 2.8 seconds. The ball should be gone.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to sit back there and read because for being a small field, everything's really combined. It's not like in outdoors you can run side to side. The old saying goes in arena football, the wall has never lost a battle.
Mm-hmm. The wall does not give, and if it could speak, that's one thing they talk about a lot too. It would tell
Correct.
quite a lot of stories because of all the individuals that have been pushed up against that. Now, one thing we did talk about, or we've talked about before, Wyatt, you played defense a good bit last year, linebacker and defensive end. You've been moved to wide receiver full-time this year. What were some of the things you learned on the defensive side of the ball that particularly helped you as a receiver, knowing the ins and outs of the game?
Well, as a linebacker, you're not really doing much coverage. You're sitting either you're going to the flat or you're sitting back. You're sitting back right where the slants will come or the inside curls, and it really let me know as a receiver that if I go in there not with my head on the swivel, then I'm going to get my helmet knocked off.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then there was a lot you talked about. You referenced how quarterbacks need to get the ball in and out of their hands quickly, and I think that can really, really lead us down the rabbit hole into debate that spanned really not that long, but definitely a couple of years, and that is shotgun versus under center. Under center has been the traditional way of arena football. If you really think about it, the under center formation, that is gold currency indoors, and then shotgun is your new paper money in the sense that's just now getting introduced, and people are trying to get used to it, figure out if it's actually efficient or not. So what are your thoughts on the matter as a coach?
As a coach, with the shotgun, and the shotgun can be used a lot with opening up not only the running game in arena football, but can really give your quarterback a half a second quicker to read without the pressure. But the biggest thing with a shotgun is you need a good center to be able to, if you have a right-handed quarterback, be able to get the ball up towards his right shoulder, so he's not always, he can automatically catch it and be looking down the field, at his reads. The negative aspect of the shotgun is if the center doesn't snap the ball correctly, that means the quarterback's head's going down and he's got to pop back up and try to find his reads and all that.
And we certainly had problems with bad snaps last year. Every team in our league did last year. Cape Fear had their problems. Cap City had their problems. Even the Torch, when they had to go to the shotgun in that last game, they had bad snaps. So it's definitely a universal thing. And I believe you said Richmond was the only team that had ever really snapped from the shotgun with any sort of consistency. And you referenced that they definitely had a very good center to boot with that.
Correct. And they also have and that's another thing about arena football, is your kicker. Now, Richmond had I think he won an award for being a kicker, and that's an aspect too that a lot of teams don't really, because you can kick the ball off and you get what we call a uno, and if it goes through a goalpost. So, a kicker's aspect of the game is very important as well, because the goalpost is very, very small compared to outdoors.
9 feet wide and 18 feet off the ground. Right. Very difficult to kick through, especially from the opposite side of the field when you're going for that uno. And if you miss, the other team gets the ball at the 20-yard line. So it's a very risky 1 point, but you can potentially walk away from a possession with 9 points. So very useful in the sense that it can really help you get back from a big deficit. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be in big trouble.
Right. And see, that's the thing about arena football. You're never out of a football game, because you can score points really, really fast. And, as in, for instance, like, Wyatt as a wide receiver, the field's only 50 yards long. So if he's in motion running full speed and he runs a 4 or 5.40, he's going to be there
very quickly.
Very quickly.
And as we all know, it doesn't matter how many individuals are covering Wyatt. If he jumps up into the air, the ball automatically gravitates towards his hand. I'm not sure how he does it. Other teams aren't sure how he does it. Even our quarterback doesn't know how he does it. So if you would be so kind as to give away the secrets to your trade, I'm sure all the little kids who want to imitate Odell Beckham Jr. would love to know.
It's actually crazy, because in college I played defensive end and outside linebacker, and I've always just wanted to play receiver. So the first game I started out playing
Jack linebacker,
yes, and then I was like, Kent, put me in at receiver, and he put me in, and I just started making plays, and it's history from then.
I remember your first reception against Cape Fear, if I'm not mistaken. It was on a 4th and 10. You caught a curl pass and drug a guy about 10 yards downfield before the play ended. And that was one of the most impressive moments I've ever seen, particularly from a wide receiver, because usually you see bigger guys dragging people around, and here's Wyatt Rogers, 6'3", then 205, now a little bit more muscle on him now, so he'll be able to drag guys even further. But of all the people who drug folks around last year, there was one who did it better than anybody, and nobody would argue this. Davon Gardner. We called him He-Man. He won the SIF award for best fullback, best running back. How on earth were we so gifted as to get an athlete like him?
Oh, actually, we were blessed because the Grizzlies released him. So when the Grizzlies released him, and he came in, worked out for us and everything else like that, I was like, this kid is an athlete. Very well-spoken young man, very hard worker. He's exactly type of player that we want on our team. Like, for instance, Wyatt and him, they do the little things that you need to do outside of what we do here. Because nowadays, it's not just we got practice today, we train today. You got to be training outside of what you're doing. If you want to be successful and great and be one of the top level individuals, teams, and organizations, you got to go out and do the little things that everybody else, doesn't want to. Okay, and you got to, as the old saying goes, roll your hands up, roll your sleeves up, and get your hands dirty. And those two athletes, that's the reason that actually Wyatt got an award last year, and so did Gardner. and both of them,
all SIF honorable mention for you, right. And then Davon got best running back fullback in the entire league, which was a huge honor.
Correct, and and he can play any position. He can play defensive line, linebacker, and he did last year for us.
Maybe not quarterback though.
Not quarterback, but he can throw a football.
I imagine with biceps as big as his, he can probably get it down 60 yards with the flick of a wrist. And speaking of those biceps, we should have a picture of him up there now. He is an incredible freak of nature. We call him He-Man. My father came up with that name solely based on how strong he appeared. He resembled the cartoon character He-Man from Masters of the Universe with those incredible biceps. And back there, when you were playing linebacker, would you have wanted to tackle him?
Oh man, I step out of the way of being me.
It's a good choice.
I saw him run over this one guy, man, and I was just like, wow, that's amazing. And the guy was about his size. Is the crazy thing. He just ran right through him.
He is strong and he's fast to boot. Definitely a player teams need to look out for. Now, you did reference a lot of players putting in a lot of work over the offseason, especially outside of practice, really pushing themselves in their own daily lives to be as good of a football player as they can. And one of the guys who put in a lot of work alongside Wyatt was quarterback Marcus Littlejohn. And you referenced the quarterback competition earlier and how heated that's going to be. We've got 3 guys. Marcus is the only one who's played indoors. Marcus Littlejohn, Shane Martinez, who's coming in from California, and Lorenz Stefan, who is coming in from Arizona. And Marcus, his experience and his chemistry with Wyatt and the other receivers, what sort of advantages does that give him as he's coming into this quarterback competition?
Well, for one, he knows the system, and he knows the route tree, and he's been real familiar with the calling and everything else. So that is an aspect where the spots that he needed to work on throughout the off season
have been completed and filled.
Yeah, have been completed, and he's improved tremendously from last year. And he's concentrated real hard on his craft, and Wyatt's got him on a good training because he's also a personal trainer. So Wyatt's over there helping him with his trying to get some more muscle because Littlejohn's a little thin. Mm-hmm. So he's helping them out with training.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's been a lot of training going on. We can tell He-Man's put in a lot of training. And one thing, there's only one player in the league that I can really think of off the top of my head that provides the same sort of diversity as far as run-pass ratios are concerned. And indoors, that's only going to be 85-15 is going to be an outrageously high run-pass ratio. But it really resembles about what we ran last year with He-Man just because of his abilities. And there's only one fullback with He-Man's abilities that I can think of, and I can't quite remember his name. I know he wears number 20 for the Florida Tarpons. I believe his first name is Robert. And he's very similar to He-Man, a little bit lighter but a little bit faster. What kind of variety and spark does having a player like that provide for an offense?
Oh, it's great for one because it builds the confidence for the quarterback because he knows he's got somebody back there. He can just hand the ball off and knows he's more or less guaranteed 3 to 4 yards. In arena football, that's huge. Mm-hmm. Because it's not because you need a back that's going to be able to run over people in arena football because you're so close. There's not no side to side. It's one step and go. And so when you step and you go, you got to go. You don't, and especially in the league that we're playing in, it is so talented with so many talented athletes. If you just hesitate just 1/2 of a second, you're going to get your block knocked off. Because there's going to be some really, really competitive games in our league. And our league is huge with some great talented teams.
Absolutely. And you referenced the league as a whole and how prestigious it's become over the past 3 months. Well, folks, I hate it, but that's all the time we've got for this week. Tune in next time for the second installment of the Upstate Dragons Coaches Show. Keep a very close eye on the Dragons YouTube channel, youtube.com/Upstate Dragons. We plan on posting a lot of things there in the coming months in addition to the Coaches Show, hoping to have Hard Knocks out sometime after the new year. I plan on getting my own personal series called Inside the AL, where I bring you facts about the league we're playing in and the game they will be playing, ins and outs of offenses, defenses, how the game works, all brought to you in a very entertaining format. And Go ahead and reserve your tickets online. You can get them, I believe all teams have theirs ready for purchase now. And stay safe for the holidays. Drive safe if you're traveling. Fly safe. If there's snow, be sure to just bundle up, stay warm, and go Dragons. We wish you a Merry Christmas. God bless.